Good day, greeting students. I am very happy to meet you all again in grade 12 economics. We are in the last chapter of IED. This is our last chapter, and with this the portions gets over. So this chapter we are going to discuss about comparative development experiences of India and its neighbors. Neighbors in the sense the countries near us are called our neighbors. So first let us have an overview of IED, Indian Economic Development. What was this book about? What was the subject about? Is we dealt with the various paths leading or connected with the economic development of the country. So nama first colonial rule lende start pannnom. The first chapter was about colonial rule, how was India's condition on the eve of independence. The second chapter was Indian economy from 1950 to 1990, that is when the constitution was formed. From there till where we had to have a major change in our economic system and economic policies. In 1990, from 1980s, mid 1980s, we started to face twin deficits. Due to that, as a result of it, as a reform for it, we came with the LPG reforms. As I said, the then finance minister Dr. Manmohan Singh has come up with these LPG reforms, which stands for liberalization, privatization and globalization. And these reforms have molded India into a developing country, and it brought us out of this deficits that India was facing. Yes, after lots of struggle only we could accept towards this LPG reforms. This meant the rules will be liberalized, private sectors, private organizations will be allowed to take part in the market, and finally trying to create, India joined the campaign to create a borderless economy. Owing to that, we discussed various other current challenges which are faced by Indian economy. Even though these LPG reforms were introduced, we had to face a lot of issues, and we still are facing certain issues like poverty, then unemployment, rural development, what are we supposed to do with that, the human capital formation, what does it even mean, we discussed. Then we moved on to discuss about the infrastructure, and finally we discussed about environment and sustainable development, how these are all working, we discussed. In this chapter we are going to take two of our neighbors, Pakistan and China, two of the big neighbors we have. So these people also, even Pakistan and China also, started just in time exactly like us. 1947 we got independence, 1948 Pakistan, 1949 China got its republic, the Republic of China was established. So all of us started our journeys together. ஸோ அங்கேருந்து என்ன மாதிரி நம்ம டெவலப் ஆகிருக்கும், இட் இஸ் ஈஸி ரைட். ஸோ மூணு கண்ட்ரியுமே கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரே டைமிங், ஜஸ்ட் வித்தின் இயர்ஸ் கேப் நம்ம ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணியிருக்கோம் நம்மளோட ஜேர்னியை. ஸோ ஹவு தே ஹாவ் டெவலப், இன் விச் செக்டர்ஸ் we are ahead of them, where we still lack, or those things that we are going to discuss in this chapter. Why is it essential? Yes, it is essential to understand where we stand. நம்ம என்ன பண்ணுறோம், நமக்கு அதனால தான் நமக்கு பக்கத்தில் இருக்கிற countries, because more or less the climatic conditions, the people all are like same, Asian countries நம்ம சொல்கிறோம் இல்லையா. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கப்போ we can go for a comparison. We cannot compare ourselves with a country like US or UK which started ahead of us. நமக்கு முன்னாடி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணவங்களோட நம்மளால் கம்பேரிசன் பண்ண முடியாது. We are going to have this comparison with the countries which started similarly like us. நம்மள மாதிரி முட்டி மோதி வந்தவங்க, நிறைய பிளான்ஸ் கொடுத்தவங்க. இஃப் யூ கம்பேர் அண்ட் see, no, India and Pakistan are more of a mixed economy. இந்த ரெண்டு கண்ட்ரியுமே மிக்ஸ்ட் எக்கானமி படி போகும். As we have discussed in chapter number 2, Jawaharlal Nehru introduced this mixed economy where it is a mixture of social economy with the government's impact a lot than the private sectors. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி அது ஒரு டிக்டேட்டர்ஷிப் ரூலாக இல்லாமல் அது ஒரு கேபிட்டலிஸ்ட் எக்கானமியாக இல்லாமல் இருந்துச்சு. whereas when you take China, China is of a command economy. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரியான கம்பேரிசன்ஸ் தான் நம்ம இந்த சாப்டரில் பார்க்க போகிறோம். அண்ட் எஸ், இட் இஸ் இம்பார்ட்டண்ட் because due to globalization we have become a borderless world. So of course it is essential, right, to verify what it is naturally. எப்படி இருக்கு borderless economy நம்ம சொல்கிறோமே, borderless world நம்ம சொல்கிறோமே, is it true that we all are sailing on the same boat is what we are going to verify in this particular chapter. Okay, so this globalization has given us long-term implications for each country. Nations have been primarily trying to adopt various means which will strengthen their own domestic economy. So countries, enna country irundhalum, these countries aim at strengthening their own domestic economies first. Globalization, I am taking care of the world even. அப்படின்னு நம்ம என்ன தான் சொன்னாலும் whatever we say that it is interdependent, இதெல்லாம் நம்ம சொல்கிறோம். It is an interdependent economy. We should be depending on others, other countries. Same way, our economic condition, economic policies will definitely affect other countries. நம்ம சொல்கிறோம். Fine. But still, every country tries to strengthen their own domestic economy first. Then, okay, then they can concentrate on the remaining things. To this effect, they are forming regional and global economic groupings such as SAARC, European Union, ASEAN, G8, G20, BRICS. இந்த அசோசியேஷன் எல்லாமே எதுக்காக இருக்குது? To take care of their own economy as well as to take care of the global economy. இங்கே தான் நம்ம இந்த G8, G20, BRICS இதிலெல்லாம் என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க? The leaders of these country meet. These people sign agreements, they discuss things, they say which country has done something wrong. அவங்கள இங்கே நம்ம வந்து we have to stand together to fight against terrorism. இதெல்லாமே இந்த மாதிரியான மீட்டிங்ஸில் தான் வந்து கொண்டு வராங்க. In addition, there is also an increasing eagerness on the parts of various nations to try and understand the development process pursued by the neighboring countries so that we can also adopt. அவங்க என்ன பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க, how far it's working for them, how can we also do this. The world is standing together against one particular country. ஏன்னா this COVID all started from there அப்படிங்கிறதுல we are very sure. அதனால many countries they have stopped using Chinese apps, they have banned all these things. ஏன்னா அங்கிருந்து தான் இது ஸ்டார்ட் ஆச்சு. ஓகே, we are telling certain things. நம்ம பிகினிங்லேயே வந்து இவங்க அப்போஸ் பண்ணல. they are telling some corrections, they are telling some suggestions. when that country is not ready to accept those suggestions, அப்போ தான் வந்து என்ன பண்ணுறாங்க, remaining countries they keep this one particular country away. ஃபைன், இதை தான் நம்ம குளோபலைசேஷன்னு சொல்கிறோம். இட்ஸ் யோர் கண்ட்ரிஸ் ப்ராப்ளம், யூ ஃபைட்டுன்னு சொல்லாமல் we stand together towards a general cause. டெரரிசம் பாகிஸ்தானில் ஜாஸ்தியாக இருக்குங்கிறதுக்காக we oppose Pakistan, but we are not against Pakistanis. We are not against the innocent people who live there. Fine, we still have this medical tourism still going on. ஏன் பாகிஸ்தான்லேருந்து எவ்வளோ பேர் வராங்க to under this medical tourism system, we discussed in chapter number 8, right, infrastructure la paathom, that people come here for some operation, some medical treatment. Even from Pakistan we get people. So namma avangala, in the sense, the government is, this government is against that government. We tell that your policies are not right for our country, நீங்கள் பண்ணுறது சரியில்லைன்னு மட்டும்தான் சொல்கிறோமே தவிர, no countries actually affect any innocent people of other countries. இன்னொரு கண்ட்ரியில் வந்த innocent people நம்ம affect பண்ணுறது கிடையாது. Fine. What we are trying to understand is, we try to understand the development process. We try to understand the development process in order to adapt the best and suitable policies. Many countries have taken the South African Republic's constitution, their preamble, as an example. அவங்களோடது எடுத்து நம்ம எக்ஸாம்பிளாக செட் பண்ணுறோம். பிளானிங் கமிஷன் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணதே இன்னொரு கண்ட்ரியோட ஐடியாவில் தான் நம்ம சொல்கிறோம். Such good measures can be adopted. For that only, we are having a close watch on the development process of our neighboring countries. Fine. Some things are kept secret. நம்மளோட டிஃபென்ஸ் மெக்கானிசம் எப்போவுமே, ஒரு கண்ட்ரியோட டிஃபென்ஸ் மெக்கானிசம் is always kept secret. But how much, what do we say, defense tools we have, guns, missiles, அதெல்லாமே வந்து we expose up to a certain level. Okay. An understanding of the other economies in our neighborhood is also required, as all major economic activities in the region impinge on overall human development in a shared environment. Why do we have to know this? To concentrate or to improve the human development index. What do we know about human development index? It is fixed on the literacy rate, mortality rate, infant mortality, right? All these kind of things are given in human development index, and it is sad that India is somewhere behind in the list. We definitely have to bring us forward. Okay, so we are going to compare what? India with Pakistan and China. Where is the comparison going to lie? The comparison is going to be between India, Pakistan, and China. Fine. So what kind of an economy we have here is, in India we have mixed economy. Pakistan also follows mixed economy. China, command economy. We started around 1947. They also started around the same time. They started in 1949. Okay. So Jawaharlal Nehru, what did he say at that time, 1949? These new and revolutionary changes in China and India, even though they differ in content, symbolize the new spirit of Asia, a new vitality which is finding expression in the countries in Asia. So what did he say? He said that even though the content is different, there is something new that is happening in all these countries. India va irukattum, China va irukattum, the things that are happening right now is something new. So this spirit should spread over to all the Asian countries, is what he said. All three countries had started planning their development strategies in similar ways. Nammaloda first plan eppo nama kuduthom 1951, but whereas Pakistan announced it in 1956. Planning. 1951, Pakistan gave it in 1956. Name is different, but planning strategy was there. Okay, and China announced its first 5-year plan in 1953. If you see, the timings are similar. மூணு பேருமே என்ன பண்ணோம், we had a planning strategy. நம்ம 5-year plan சொன்னோம், China 5-year plan சொன்னாங்க, Pakistan said it as medium term development plan ன்னு சொன்னாங்க. That's it. But all of us had a plan to go with. நம்ம எதுவுமே வந்து hands on action பண்ணாம we had a plan. அந்த பிளானை நம்ம ஃபாலோ பண்ணோம். We had certain techniques, certain strategies to be followed by the governments, by the state governments as well as the citizens of the country. அதுதான் நம்மளோட 5-year plans நம்ம சொல்கிறோம். So all these three countries started around the same time. 1950s தான் இவங்களோட planning strategies ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணினாங்க. Fine. Then since 2013, Pakistan is working on the basis of 11th 5-year development plan, whereas China is now working on 13th 5-year plan. Until March 2017, India has been following 5-year plan. But now what do we have? We have the annual plans given by the Niti Aayog, right? India and Pakistan adopted similar strategies such as creating a large public sector and raising public expenditure on social development. So what did we do think about? We too thought about public sector and raising public sector and whereas China had a different thing. Their economy was command economy, right? Till the 1980s, all the three countries had similar growth rates and per capita incomes. So before, where do they stand? Let us trace the historical path after studying the last 3 units. So how these countries have changed? So we are going to have like separately what is the thing that we are going to discuss about China first, then we will talk about Pakistan, and then we can know about India. We already know about India, so we are going to compare in that point of time. But talking about population, China's population is like sun preference. Okay, the count of female, the proportion of female than to male, and the count vandu it is more or less similar in all the three countries, and they always preferred sons. India la eppovume namakku and female infanticide nu or vishayam irunduchu, isn't it? They always wanted sons. Pakistan also was similar, China was also similar. So one thing that is common in these three countries where they all preferred sons to daughters. But as of now, it is trying to get balanced, isn't it? Nowadays we have these awareness that son alone is not there. Even a daughter can take care of the family. A daughter is equal to a son. There is nothing different just in the gender of the children we have. So in the awareness ellame namakku ippoda varudhu. But initially all these countries were son preferred countries. So if we just look back, these three countries established or got freedom at almost the same time. Their economies, India and Pakistan follow a similar economy, mixed economy, whereas China follows a command economy. ஏன் இது கொஞ்சம் சிமிலராக இருக்குன்னா, பாகிஸ்தான் ஆக்சுவலி got separated from India, isn't it? அதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு யுனைடெட் இந்தியாவாக தான் இருந்துச்சு. So the ideologies of us somewhat similar. Okay, so planning commission, they all had planning strategies at the same time around 1950s. So 51 we gave our first 5-year plan. In 56 they gave their first middle term plan. In 1953 China gave its plan, and India and Pakistan concentrated on the public sector and expenditure, whereas we do not have any details on China about it. And then we have the common factor of these countries, that they preferred more about science. Okay, so now what are we going to do? We are going to get into a detailed discussion about China and Pakistan. We know where India stands out of our previous chapters, previous units discussion. We know what is India's expectation, what are they trying to do. So instead of just repeating the same, we are simply going to talk about China and Pakistan, so that we ourselves can compare these. So first let us talk about China. So their democratic, their geographical level is more, but the density is less. After the establishment of People's Republic of China under one party rule, all critical, this you have to remember, China has we have discussed this, no? One party, bi-party, multi-party, who have studied it in 10th as well. One party means in that country only one party will be there. Whereas if you take countries like America, they have two parties, democratic and republic. India, if you take, we are an example for multi-party system. We have many parties, political parties. Okay, so all critical sectors of the economy, enterprises and lands owned and operated by individuals were brought under government control. First thing, all the enterprises and lands were brought under government control. So simultaneously we will think about our country also. Was it happening in our country? Indian independence kapram constitution follow panna arambichadukku apprama from 1950, public sectors had a higher hand in the important sectors. Private sectors kana importance kammiya irundichu, but everything was not under government control. So that is the difference that our economy has with the China's economy. Okay, that is the first point. The Great Leap Forward campaign, initiated in 1958, aimed at industrializing the country on a massive scale. People were encouraged to set up industries in the backyards. In rural areas, communes are started. Under the commune system, people collectively cultivated lands. In 1958, there were 26,000 communes covering almost all the farm population. GLF campaign met with many problems, severe drought, all these were there. So the Great Leap Forward. Leap means what? Jump, isn't it? They wanted for a quick industrialization. அவங்க aim பண்ணது என்ன? Immediate industrialization. எல்லாரையுமே industry start பண்ணுங்க, industries run பண்ணுங்கன்னு move forward பண்ணாங்க. Why? As you know, a developing country will have its contribution more from industrial sector. ஒரு countryயோட industrial sectorும் tertiary செக்டாரும் வளர வளர அந்த கண்ட்ரியோட எக்கானமி வளருதுன்னு நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கிறோம். ஸோ தே மோட்டிவேட்டட் பீப்புள் டு மூவ் டுவர்ட்ஸ் இண்டஸ்ட்ரியல் செக்டார். தி அர்பனைசேஷன் till today is increased. நம்ம சைனாவாக இருக்கட்டும் பாகிஸ்தானாக இருக்கட்டும், தி அர்பனைசேஷன் இஸ் அட் தி ஹை லெவல் தேன் இந்தியா. ஏன்னா இப்போவும் நம்ம என்ன பண்ணுறோம், we still stay back in rural areas concentrating on agriculture and other things. But these countries, they motivate totally towards what? Industrialization. So the great leap forward called GLF campaign started in 1958. Isn't it? Their establishment of Republic of China was in 1949, and they took this great step in 1958. Within 10 years of time, within a decade, they took this time, and people were motivated towards industrialization. People were motivated towards industrialization, and there were commune system where people collectively cultivated lands. ஒரு குரூப்பாக சேர்ந்து ஒரு லேண்டை கல்டிவேட் பண்ணுவாங்க. So in 1958 there were 26,000 communes covering almost all the farm population. எல்லாரையுமே அந்த commune system குள்ள கொண்டு வந்துட்டாங்க. There were no one out of it. So everything was under government's control. நம்ம first பார்த்த மாதிரி all the lands even were brought under the government's control. Okay, so when Russia had conflicts with China, it withdrew its professional who had earlier been sent to China to help in the industrialization process. In 1965, Mao introduced the Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution, under which students and professionals were sent to work and learn from the countryside. So another Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution that happened in 1966-76. So in the industrialization process got blocked in 1965 when Russia withdrew its professionals. Russia கொடுத்திருந்த ஹெல்ப் எல்லாத்தையும் அது திருப்பி வாங்கினதுக்கு அப்புறமா 1966-76 all the students and professionals, doctors, engineers, that kind of professionals were sent to work and learn from the countryside. Rural area க்கு போய் கத்துக்க சொன்னாங்க. Okay, students and professionals were sent to work and learn from the countryside. The present day fast industrial growth in China can be traced to the reforms introduced in 1978. China introduced reforms in phases. In the initial phase, reforms were initiated in agriculture, foreign trade. So China's reforms started in 1978. இன்னைக்கு அவங்களுக்கு இருக்கிற இண்டஸ்ட்ரியல் பேக்ரவுண்ட், இத்தனை அப்ளிகேஷன்ஸ் இருக்குது, எத்தனை எலக்ட்ரானிக் ரிலேட்டட் கம்பெனிஸ் ஆர் ஃப்ரம் சைனா. ஸோ அது எல்லாமே எங்கேருந்து ஸ்டார்ட் ஆச்சு அப்படின்னா, இட் ஆல் ஸ்டார்டட் ஃப்ரம் 1978 and their development process was in phases. Okay, they introduced their reforms in phases, different levels. So the initial stage, they concentrated on agriculture foreign trade and investment. Foreign trade and investment, isn't it? And in agriculture, commune lands were divided into small plots which were allocated to individual households. So enna pannitaanga, these commune lands were there, right, where all these people joined together to cultivate. Adha divide panni over individualukku, not for ownership, for using, they gave it individually. Neenga mattum ungaloda velai idhula paakradhukaga, there is no commune system, you take it as small plots, okay, to individual households. They were allowed to keep all income from the land after paying stipulated taxes. So tax pay பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறமா உங்களுக்கு அதுல இருந்து வர இன்கம் எல்லாத்தையும் நீங்க வெச்சுக்கலாம். So these individuals were asked, were allowed to cultivate using those small plots. Tax pay பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறம் வந்த இன்கம் அவங்க வெச்சுக்க சொல்லியாச்சு. In the later phase, reforms were initiated in the industrial sector. Next it was done in where? In the industrial sector. Private sector firms in general and township and village enterprises, those enterprises which were owned and operated by local collectives, were allowed to produce goods. At this stage, enterprises owned by government, public sector enterprises were made to face competition. So industrial sector பொறுத்தளவு அவங்களோட reform என்னவா இருந்துச்சுன்னா, they allowed the enterprises to produce goods. Infrastructure மட்டும் இல்லாம இந்த public sector enterprises they allowed to produce goods. This made them to face the competition. The reform process also involved dual pricing. This means fixing the prices in two ways. One more thing was dual pricing. What is this dual pricing? The first pricing was done by farmers, and the second pricing, farmers and industrial units were required to buy and sell fixed quantities of inputs on the outputs on the basis of prices fixed by the government, and the rest were purchased and sold at market prices. First level is fixed prices, government prices. And one more thing was the market prices. What is the difference between fixed price and market price? Fixed price means the government fixes a price. அதோட demand எப்படி இருக்கு, அதோட supply எப்படி இருக்கு, அதோட cost எப்படி இருக்கு, இதெல்லாம் பார்க்காம they try to fix a price. Government tries to fix a price that is called fixed price. What do we mean by market price? Based on its demand and supply, the market itself allots a price for it, and that is called as market price. Over the years, as production increased, the proportion of goods or inputs transacted in the market also increased. In order to attract foreign investors, special economic zones, which is called as CES, special economic zones were set up to attract foreign investors, right? So to recall our discussion about China, it was one party rule against our multi party rule. Namma country la eppadi irukku, multi party rule, avangaludhu one party rule. All the enterprises and lands were brought under government control. First panna step enna, everything was brought under government control, whereas our country is not like that. Next, this great leap forward motivated towards industrialization. Eduthadume they pushed their citizens towards industrialization. Namma enna pannom, we took some time, right? We took some time to establish. Initially நம்ம discuss பண்றப்போ we had very few industries, countable industries மட்டும் தான் அங்க இருந்துச்சு. Our concentration was on agriculture. ஒரு second 5-year plan க்கு அப்புறமா தான் நம்ம industrialization ஒரு important factor நம்ம கொண்டு வந்தோம். Initially the concentration was on the primary sector, isn't it? Next, great proletarian cultural revolution was one of the important things there. So students and professionals were sent to work and learn. Okay, they had some problems with Russia, we discussed. Then we have the China's reforms which started in 1978. It is these reforms are done at stages, various phases la pannirukanga. Initial stage concentration வந்து it was on agriculture, foreign trade and investment. So agriculture la enna pannanga அப்படினா they divided these communes into small plots, and after paying a certain tax, stipulated tax, the owners, or not the owners, people for whom the land is allotted, அது வந்து ownership கிடையாது, யூஸ்க்கு மட்டும், those are using it can keep up, can retain the earnings. Then at a later stage industrial sector was concentrated. So எல்லாத்துலயுமே நம்ம goods and services produce பண்ணறதுக்கு allow பண்ணினாங்க. And we had a dual pricing system where one is fixed price and another one is market price. So fixing the prices in two ways. எப்படி fix பண்ணாங்க? Farmers and industrial units were required to buy and sell fixed quantities of inputs and outputs on the basis of prices fixed by the government, and the rest were purchased and sold at market prices. அதாவது ஒரு 2000 யூனிட்ஸ் இருக்குது அப்படின்னா அந்த 2000 யூனிட்ஸும் கவர்மெண்ட் ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ண அந்த ப்ரைஸில், அந்த 2000 யூனிட்டை தாண்டி நம்ம செல் பண்ணுறது எல்லாமே மார்க்கெட் ப்ரைஸ். Okay, this is for a fixed quantity also, but here the rest were purchased and sold at the market price. And later on, to attract foreign investors, they set up special economic zones. Clear? This is our discussion about China. So we can see how much there is a change in everything, the way they rule and the way we are being ruled. Okay, first thing itself is a change. They are a command economy and we are a, what kind of economy are we? Mixed economy, isn't it? Now we move on to discuss about our other neighbor, Pakistan. So let us see how many similarities we have. We are just comparing. It is not only about differences but also the similarities. And why we have taken these two countries especially? Because they also started their process from around the same time. That is why we have taken these two countries for our comparison. Pakistan. We have so many things that do not work in a good manner between India and Pakistan. Even in cricket, no other matches will be interesting than India and Pakistan. That has been there for a long time. It's been there for generations. So நம்ம மட்டும் India and Pakistan match பார்க்கறது இல்லை. It's like everybody, even people who do not watch sports are interested in the results between these two countries, matches, anything in sports. So talking about Pakistan, there are many similarities. First thing is there are many similarities between India and Pakistan. எதில் அப்படின்னா between the multi-party system, when we talk about the mixed economy, நிறைய similarities. அவங்களோட 5-year plans, நம்மளோட 5-year plans, the sectors that we focus on, அது எல்லாமே similarities இருக்கு. Pakistan also follows a mixed economy. First thing is what? Just like India, it also follows mixed economy. That is, public and private sectors can take part. In the late 1950s and 1960s, Pakistan introduced a variety of regulatory policy framework for import substitution based industrialization. நம்மள மாதிரி நமக்கு எப்படி import substitution இருந்துச்சோ அதே மாதிரி தான் they too had things related to their framework, their policies were related to import substitution. The policy combined tariff protection for manufacturing of consumer goods together with direct import controls on competing imports. So tariff and quota rendu irundichu. Then the introduction of green revolution. Enga padichom idellame? You remember even this term green revolution? It happened in India also, isn't it? We actually share borders. Green revolution led to mechanization and increase in public investment in infrastructure in select areas, which finally led to a rise in the production of food grains. நம்ம எப்படி food grains ஓட productionல concentrate பண்ணுறோமோ அதே மாதிரி தான் அவங்களும் food grain productionல concentrate பண்ணுறாங்க. That's another similarity. And this changed the agrarian structure. India is an agrarian country. We discussed it similarly. Their agrarian structure also changed. In the 1970s, nationalization of capital goods industries took place. Pakistan then shifted its policy orientation in the late 1970s and 1980s, where when the major thrust areas were denationalization and encouragement of private sector. நம்ம privatization சொல்றோம். They made it as denationalization and they encourage private sectors to enter. Okay, Pakistan also received financial support from Western nations and remittances. So we started in 1991 illaya. 1980s they actually started this denationalization and continuously increasing outflow of immigrants to the Middle East. This helped the country in stimulating economic growth. The then government also offered incentives to the private sector. All this created a conducive climate for new investments. In 1988, reforms were initiated in the country. So our reforms were in 1991, illaya? We do not have much to note down here because it's all similar. நம்மளோட கண்ட்ரிக்கு இருக்கிற நிறைய பாலிசிஸ் நிறைய ஃப்ரேம்வொர்க் அந்த கண்ட்ரிலையும் ஃபாலோ பண்ணுறாங்க. There are the ideology differences. நமக்கு இருக்கிற ஐடியாலஜிஸும் அவங்களுக்கு இருக்கிற ஐடியாலஜிஸும் டிஃப்ரெண்ட். On peace, on terrorism, on sharing the border, எல்லாத்துலேயுமே வந்து அந்த ஐடியாலஜி இஸ் டிஃப்ரெண்ட். பட் the way the framework is done, the way the policies are done, that is different. அங்கே militant rule இருக்கு, நமக்கு அந்த மாதிரி இல்லை. We have a democratic rule, isn't it? That kind of thing. அங்கே வந்து military people play a major role. Here we do not have that kind of importance given. We treat them as soldiers, we treat them as people who protect us, our defenders, but we do not treat them as saviors. Yes, we need to treat them as our saviors because just because they are there standing in cold and hot sun, we are safe here. They do not know about their life and death. That's a huge dedication, a huge sacrifice they do for people who they don't even know. நம்ம எல்லார் முகமும் அவங்களுக்கு தெரியாது, but still they fight for us. That is one great thing. We are respecting them, but there is no ruling done by them on us. ஆனால் பாகிஸ்தானில் அப்படி கிடையாது. They rule over people. Okay. So here we are going to discuss hereafter about the development indicators. starting from democratic indicator அதுக்கப்புறமா gross domestic product and sectors, then human development. These are the various comparisons that we are going to have. First we are going to talk about the demographic indicators. From here our comparison actually starts. Fine. So when we look at the global population, out of every 6 persons living in this world, one is an Indian and another a Chinese. We shall compare some demographic indicators of India, China and Pakistan. The population of Pakistan is very small and accounts for roughly about 1/10 of China or India. So we will again do it like a comparison. India, Pakistan and China. Population is high. Pakistan it is low. China also it is high. So how low abdina? It is just 1/10 of India or 1/10 of China's population. China is the largest nation and geographically occupies the largest area among the 3 nations. Its density is the lowest. Nama map la paathale we can identify that China has a large space than India. Ana adoda density appdi nama paakrappo it is less. Area is large but density that is the population spread is not equal. Adha dhaan nama density ni mean pandrom. Fine. So we have your estimated population, annual growth of population, density, sex ratio, fertility rate, urbanization. So urbanization is also one important thing that we are going to discuss. So talking about this, in India the density is 441 per square meter, whereas China is 146, Pakistan is 245. So in density is high, here density is moderate, and there density is less. எவ்வளோ பேர் இருக்காங்க ஒரு அந்த பர்டிகுலர் ஸ்கொயர் கிலோமீட்டரில் பார்க்குறது தான் நம்ம டென்சிட்டின்னு சொல்கிறோம். ஓகே, தென் urbanization. If you take urbanization, China tops. Under urbanization, sad that India is the least. Okay, we still stay back in rural areas. Inga vandu 28% only we are there in urban areas, whereas rural population is high. Namma the rural development lu discuss pannom, employment and education idu ellathiyume nama paathom illaya. So urbanization is least here. Here it is moderate again, and here it is high because they concentrated on industrialization right from earlier terms. Yeah, anga density kammiya irukna, most of the people have been shifted to urban areas. Adnala da rural areas are not matched properly with that of the urban areas. Okay, so scholars point out that one child norm introduced in China in the late 1970s as a major reason for low population growth. Anga population growth koranjadukku kaaranam vandu this high means comparing with these 3 countries. Okay va. ஸோ அங்கே ஏன் லோ ஆச்சு அப்படின்னா ஒன் சைல்டு நார்ம் கொண்டு வந்ததுனால it decreased. They also state that this measure led to a decline in the sex ratio, the proportion of females per 1000 males. From the table we will understand that all these countries had a similar son preference ratio, right? Son preference prevailing in all these countries as the reasons. In recent times all these countries are adopting various measures to improve the situation. Adha maathitom nama erkanave we saw it even in the introduction, isn't it? We saw that now we have got an awareness and we are coming out of that prototype. This led China to allow couples to have 2 children. The fertility rate is also low in China and very high in Pakistan. Urbanization is high. Idu namo table already we have discussed. That is what is given here again. Okay, so talking about the demographic indicators, geographic and the population wise, if we see geographically their land is the largest. China's land is the largest out of these 3 countries. Ana density is very less compared to India and Pakistan. Out of these 3 countries, India has the highest density, Pakistan has a moderate density and China is the least. Compared with population among these 3 countries, Pakistan is the least compared with the other 2 countries, and the population is very less. Urbanization between these 3 countries comparison la China is topping the list, it's the highest. Pakistan has a moderate urbanization and India has to still work on its urbanization. Okay, how do we do that? We discussed that already. Slowly we have to create opportunities where this people, rural people, keep agriculture but they should learn something in industries also. Industrial sector develop பண்ணோம், அதுக்கேற்ற மாதிரியான employment opportunities create பண்ணோங்கிறது we have discussed already, isn't it? The next topic is gross domestic product and different sectors, which will be discussed in the next session. In this chapter even we do not have any deleted portions, so I want you to go through this chapter completely. If at all you have any doubts, please feel free to reach me out and get your doubts clarified. Thank you and may you all have a wonderful day today.